Hey guys. Welcome to this edition of Fast Hard Finish.
I finished fast and hard last week in DFS. Actually, I crashed hard. Crashed hard and finished in DFS last week. Good to see you, Mr. Bo McBig Time. I am Scott Simpson here at Nimble W Numbers. This is a catch-all show of fantasy football, two dudes, shades, and apparently now my fucking gerbils who are over there running on their wheel, and I've got to go over there and take control of them, apparently.
And my nephew is in town, or in the house. He lives 6 blocks away, but he's over for the night, and they're going to have a disco party in the other room. So if it gets noisy, just turn us down, I guess.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. This was a shout out that I had to give for Master June out there, Mark Matheson. He's the greatest graphic designer. He designed the logo for the Hotbox Small Batch Hot Sauce. And you can find that merch on ViridianGlobal.com. You can also check out HotboxBatch.com to get my hot sauce, my Smoke Shack barbecue rub, and of course a quick link to Viridian Global to get your Hotbox hoodies, t-shirts, and probably soon to be hats. But shout out to Master June because my sister-in-law, my nephew's mom, is from Shanghai originally, born and raised. So we North Americans traded Master June to Shanghai, China in return for my sister-in-law and a player to be named later, who's my nephew Michael.
Oh, I love that. I love that the kids are in the house. Kids will be kids. Noises will happen.
We gave them soda too, so it's going to be rowdy.
Yeah, I gave my gerbils extra nuts because we've been away camping, and they've been they've been gnawing on them, and now they're running on the wheel. And
teabagging gerbils, man, it's a wild night. What?
I gotta tell you, man, these gerbils, Princess Sparkles and Cappuccino, those are my gerbils.
I remember.
Yeah,
I'm gonna send them a birthday card. Do you know when their birthday is?
Yeah, it's every fucking day they live because I mean, congratulations.
You made it another day.
Yeah. Well, I left them for 24 hours, went camping, came back. They had survived. They had flipped their wheel over. They had bitten through the rope on their steamship house. It was good times, Yes, there's
literally pissed.
Fecal matter everywhere. That's how we do it down here.
They're thumbing their nose at you when you get back.
Oh my gosh. My favorite thing is when I redo their cage each week when you got to clean it out. They come in and they just throw the stuff everywhere, and they're just like, fuck you. I don't like your cage setup. So
I'll be out there picking up turds in the backyard, and my dogs will follow me around and squeeze one out just to beat the clock.
Yeah, just to be like, hey, you got get a fresh one, right?
Missed a spot.
missed one of these bad boys. So, but you know what? Cappuccino has not bitten me in a month. So we're living the high life with Cappuccino. Cappuccino drew blood. There was a time where I went to feed Cappuccino and actually not feed, but kind of move things around in the cage before feeding Cappuccino. I got bit. I said, and I picked it up and I shook it, and it was not let go of my knuckle. It was biting, bleeding. I was like, goodness gracious. So, but we moved on. I love the gerbils, and we're not fighting or biting anymore. I got them wheels. I got them ships. I spend about $30 a month on gerbils. So, who's really winning this, Bo? It's not me. It's the gerbs for sure.
Petco is winning.
Well, you know what? The people in Petco are not winning because, it's a pandemic. How close do you think you would want to stand next to somebody at Petco where there are circles on the ground indicating how far you should stand? But what do you think? What's the average distance you think someone would want to stand away from someone?
I would say within smelling distance, but that's probably not close enough for how close they are.
Yeah. It was about 1.5 feet. And the funny part is there's circles on the ground that you're supposed
nobody
to
knows
now.
Yeah.
No, and so they were in between the circle that I was on and the circle behind me, and they had a dog that was touching me, and so I nicely just said,
much more welcome to have the dog touch you than the people.
Oh yeah, I just said, hey, can you back up? I don't know you, and it's a pandemic. So
like Bobby Hill, you're like, that's my purse. I don't know you.
Get off me! I'm gonna hit you again. No, it was not. I just, you know what, I digress. Petco is a lovely, lovely place for you to find animals that you will bring to your home and that will die in your home. So please.
Shout out to Dave Toronto.
Hey, Dave.
He's my guy.
Love some Big Dave. Dave is in the house. in the
Let's
house.
fucking go.
Yeah. So Bowman, big time. How are you doing this week? How does it go with you? The state of the affairs with the McBig Time.
So this family is completely anchored by my significant other. She's the sugar mama. She works hard from home. She does the distance learning. I mean, I have a 40-hour-a-week job away from the house. I can't do what she does and stay home and get cooped up and have 3 pets and a child and her own career to deal with. I mean, yeah, my job's easy.
She sounds like she is a saint who walks among us.
I wouldn't go that far, but she's a lot stronger and smarter than me. I'll give her that.
Well, you know what? That's saying a lot because you're my DFS guy, and I only hire the smartest and the best that $16.95 a year can get you. So I mean,
hey, as long as I don't have to tell the IRS anything, I'm good.
Hey, you know what? Between you and me, puff puff pass. You know what I'm talking?
yeah.
That's I'm paying the IRS. I don't want to pay them anything, so I'm gonna not be honest. I'm teasing.
Well, if Mama Joe wins, they won't even exist. I'll be happy with that.
Well,
day.
you know what? Speaking of that, I was going to get my ballot, and you talked about drunk filling out your ballot. I was going to kind of fill it out with you here. I have my mail-in ballot. I am going to vote for JoJo. I'm not going to vote for Biden. I know. I'm not voting for Trump in hell or high water. I was going to tell you, I can advocate for you voting for JoJo or for Biden. I cannot advocate you voting in any way for Trump. I mean, Biden, it's really just to beat Trump, honestly. It's not because I believe in Biden at all. That's just between you and me. But
it just, when it comes down to it, I don't see that big of a difference between Biden and Trump. And therefore, that's pretty unsavory to me. It's like, if I have to vote for somebody, I want them to win. I don't want either of those fools to win.
No, I agree.
And I happen to not agree with everything Joe stands for, Joe Jorgensen, speaking of, but good Lord, it's way closer than the other two. And I'd rather vote for Hawkins, the Green Party guy, than the other two anyway. So if we had ranked voting, they would lose either way.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Here's the scary part is that we're so locked into these systems in America that it's Coke or Pepsi. It's one or the other.
I want some RC, baby. I want some RC Cola. Change it up.
Seriously. Yeah. And we are trying to be that RC Cola in your ointment tonight, honestly. We're not trying to make it too easy to go down. We want you to think a little bit, but we do want you to enjoy. Cheers, my good sir. What are you feeling on right now?
I have a nice bottle of Heaven Hill Bottled in Bond. Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. It's a hard to find bottle. It's not too expensive, maybe $40, $45 if you can find it. But I happen to know a few people that work in the business, and when they come into contact with bottles that are hard to find in my area, I get them.
That sounds scrumptious. I'm drinking some hedonism. And this is all brought to you by my friend Michael Hoff, who I beat in a head-to-head a couple of weeks ago for the DFS Money Shot, and I rewarded myself with a bottle of scotch that's quickly going away. I don't know.
So those guys that you challenged today,
yes.
So they get a second shot before I do.
Well, here's what happened. This was kind of cool. You already
explain yourself.
Well, you beat me, first of all.
Well, Servino beat you too, didn't he?
Yes, he did. So, but here's how it happened. I asked Michael to come on the show. Michael expressed interest to come on the show. I actually had my guy Kevin Tompkins lined up for week 4. We were good to go. Michael was like, listen, Anthony wants to get in on this weekend, but I told him it was just me and you. We're not having him in. I don't want him in. It's me and you. Not one of them, but you know what I mean? Like, we're doing our show. And then I said, well, wouldn't it be a great idea to have him come back next weekend and then rerun us all together the following weekend? And he said, yes, that'd be great. And so I would love to have you back. That sounds amazing. I'd also love to have you back for the Tournament of Champions at the end of the year, where we rerun it with the whole crew of everybody.
I would have to be included since I was the first one to play you and the first one to annihilate you.
Yes.
And I think Tompkins would definitely be the third because I would take odds on him beating you soundly. Tompkins is a sharp cat, man.
Oh, he's going to be up in week 6, and I am trembling. Honestly, let me just tell you. I'm excited for. You
better start researching on week 6 right now.
I'm a little sweaty right now. I didn't prepare for this, so I'm going to drink because that's always the answer when you don't know. You just go,
Kevin, if you're out there, you have nothing to worry about.
listen, Bo's going to be my consigliere. You really have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, unless he actually reads my articles.
Well, what do you think about my lineup this week that I share with you? It was littered with your guys. Ingram,
I know.
Fuller, so many of your guys were in there, you know?
You plug those in and I find out you're winning money. I'm going to raise my rates, you know?
Yeah. I mean, well, speaking of that, I should probably pay you this week too. Not your wife this time. I got the new PayPal. That's not going to go to her anymore. I mean, no offense. I'm glad I could fund her Starbucks habit, but this is for you. I mean, your writing is kicking ass. I love it.
So you want to know an even funnier story is my buddy that just ordered 5 bottles of Hot Box today. Apparently I did a poor job of changing the email address for my PayPal on my business account here. And so the order went straight through PayPal and straight into the Starbucks fund. I was like,
oh my gosh,
I cannot win. Every time I try to divert this business money over for purposes that are only mine, she still gets a cut.
I feel like that is kind of how ladies do it in general. They find a way to get what they need. And you know what? Hopefully we can remedy that and you can get what you need. And that is more DK money to play with.
But can we talk about my mac and cheese from last night?
Yes. Listen, I saw that mac and cheese and I said I mac my cheese because that looked delicious. Let's talk about that. What goes into that?
There was some real macaroni noises going on last night in the McBrayer household. It was... Yeah, so it's pretty basic. I mean, mac and cheese is super easy. You just have to buy an ass load of cheese, a lot of half and half, and milk. Use herbs and spices of different kinds. Of course, use a basic bechamel sauce, which is a creamy cheese sauce to build the base. And in that, I put the Hot Box, of course, because I got to have that bite. And so it's just I stir up the bechamel, thicken it up. Add all the crap ton of cheese. I think I put 1.5 pounds of cheese in the bechamel. And then I mixed in the cooked macaroni noodles, stirred it up, poured it into the dish, and then topped it with the rest of the cheese, another 1/2 pound of cheese, and then some buttered panko breadcrumbs.
It looks so sexual.
And did I mention in that mixture that was in there, I had chopped cherry wood bacon.
Ooh, oh my goodness. Bo sends me his food porn. And I love every single thing he sends me. It drives me to eat more, but I feel like in the long run, I'll enjoy my life more. So I'm okay with it. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah. It hardens your arteries in a way where they're a lot tougher. I mean, right. You're becoming more resilient.
Listen, I don't want to live until I'm 80. That's not going to do it for me. I want to live a good 62 years. You know, there's a real good 62.
If I live to 80, I better be on the golf course every day, or I'll be pissed. I'll be one of those cranky 80-year-olds.
Yeah, I'm already kind of cranky. I have a high standard for myself, and apparently I apply it to others, and y'all suck. So sorry, my bad. I didn't realize that we weren't all living up to my own standards, but we're going to keep trying, and I'm going to keep applying. So don't give up. You can do it. You can be as good as me one day.
I'm not going to try.
No, you're better than me already. I'm primarily talking about driving on the road. I'm starting a new series called Sucking in Front of Scott. And it's not about prostitutes. It's about drivers. I have a camera in my car. I record you all. I am out there about you, filming you all the time. I pulled up to a lady the other day who pulled out in front of me I was going 50. She was going 0. She pulled out in front of me. I pulled up next to her. And I rolled down my window and let her know I filmed all of that, and I'm going to tell your husband about it. So, that was very enjoyable.
Way to threaten her with a good time.
I know. No, her husband was not pleased when we did talk later. He did not like that his wife was pulling out in front of me, endangering her very expensive SUV that he bought her. So, no, yeah.
Yeah, that's the priority there. We got to the bottom of that.
Yeah, we got to the priority. Yeah, we want him to understand.
I want to answer Dave's question. I used 4 cheeses for the mac and cheese. Sharp cheddar was the main one. 3/4 of the cheese was sharp cheddar. And then I used Monterey Jack, mozzarella, and Parm. And it was good.
Let me ask you, what is your thought on Gouda? Because a smoked Gouda to me,
It's good.
I mean, I loved your recipe there. And the only thing I was wanting to add to it would be like a real nice creamy Gouda. That's the only thing I could think of just to kind of, but what do you do with Gouda and mac? Have you done that before? Is that something you've added? I'm not presupposing that this is something that,
No, I have. It's a great cheese, and if I was getting it at Costco where it's a lot cheaper than I would have, but I was at my local grocery store that is more of a premium, up a higher end one, and it was hard enough to get the cheddar for under $10 a pound. So I kept it simple. Cheddar's the main ingredient anyway. You just want creamy cheeses that melt well, and that's why I went with the Monterey Jack and the mozzarella.
I mean, mozzarella is so perfect. It's got that stringy tenacity to it that really kind of, helps you build that mac attack. So, listen, if you're going to go into a main slate without a mac attack, then you're just going to be falling short on your face, because there's nothing like a mac attack on the main slate. And tomorrow, the main slate is 10 games. So, your mac is not going to be as attacking, because
it will be. I like those narrow slates, because when the bye weeks hit, people start to panic, and they panic about every play being chalked, because there's more of a chance that one game's just going to get focused on. I love when there's bye weeks. I love when things get moved around and that slate gets narrower, because I'm focused on one or two games that I'm going to really hit hard on, and I'm not worried about chalk as much, because it's going to be more chalky.
Yeah, it is.
The idea is just score a crap ton of points.
Right, get the most points. So what is your what are your two games that you're thinking are going to pop this week? I mean, we've got 10 games on the main slate, ranging anywhere from kind of blowout games that are looking like the Arizona Jets game that's not going to be, Joe Flacco is backo and he's wacko on his backo.
That game does not appeal to me whatsoever.
Gross game. But then
I actually think that'll be a kind of a lower scoring game on both sides. I don't think Arizona is going to run away with it, because they've been kind of off kilter the last week or two.
And the Jets are a sneaky little DFS defense for 2,700. By the way, I'm saying.
Yeah, I'd go with the Browns at that price.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry, 20. I think it's 2,500. Yeah, the Browns are the D this week to go with. By the way,
everybody's gonna have them though.
Well, in a head to head, that's okay.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, in the GPP a little bit different. Well, what do you think about the KC game? Is the KC game gonna shoot? What are your thoughts on that?
It will, but not as high as people might think. I think it hits the game of the day.
That's not the game of the day.
I think it hits the number, which is going to be fine for a lot of people to play. But if you're looking for a narrower slate, you're going to get more chalk on that game, because KC draws so much attention on Mahomes and Tyreek and Kelsey and CEH. It's going to be a slugfest, but I don't know which direction it's going to go. Either it's going to be back and forth, high scoring, where the Raiders actually put some points on the board and make it a game, or it's going to be a couple splashes and then CEH just leaning on them, getting 4 yards a pop.
Yeah.
And I'm worried about that game. I'm worried about not getting a close game where I don't know if CEH is going to get more carries than Darrell Williams in the third and fourth quarter, because they're saving him.
Yeah. Let's rank the the pops of the week. The games you think are going to pop. The top 3 games are going to score the most points. So I'll run down the slate real quick just to give everybody a chance to kind of get their wits about them. And then I'll let Bo respond. Let's do this. Let's go back and forth. You give one, I'll give one, and then we'll kind of both give our third or fourth, whatever it is. We'll see if we kind of overlap it all. So we have the Rams versus the Washington football team. We have Miami versus the 49ers. We have the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Kansas City Chiefs. The New York Jets versus the Arizona Cardinals. New York Giants versus the Dallas Cowboys. Is that in New Jersey? Is that?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So other way around. The Colts are at the Browns. I do know that. Pittsburgh versus Philly, Jacksonville, Houston, Cincinnati, Baltimore, and Atlanta, Carolina. So what's your first pick? Your top seed to pop this week?
The very top, number one.
Numero uno, bro.
Carolina, Atlanta.
You stole mine, but I'm going to let you do it because it's the first pick. So
you gave it to me. No, I just see that one as both offenses are running pretty good. Atlanta has been inconsistent. Carolina's been consistent. But I think it's going to be back and forth enough to where you can build up a high point total on both sides.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that game a lot. And I think what you're dealing with in both of those teams is bad defenses that really are not going to be. I mean, maybe it's a divisional game and the defense is tightened up, but they're not going to be tight. They're going to be loose.
Yeah.
They're gonna be loose.
I mean, to a degree, they'll be a little tighter, but that just means more big plays can happen.
Yeah.
You're going to get your 1 yard gain, your 3 yard gain, and you might get a 40, 50 yard pass play. And the key at that game is just figuring out who to play that's not going to be the end of day chalk, like right up to kickoff. It's going to get more attention because people are going to be looking away from Kansas City and Dallas and New York, and they're going to try to be sneaky with that game. And you could see some big performances come from that game. I'm still going to have a lot of it involved.
Yeah. No, I like it. You stole my number one, but I'll give you a numero dos on this slate. I really like the Houston-Jacksonville game to pop.
That would have been my number 3.
Yeah, and here's why. I think that both of these offenses are outpacing the defense. In both situations, you've got a competent quarterback who commands the offense, who can get the ball downfield. And Will Fuller has been the truth this year so far. One game against Baltimore, he had an injury. He did not post. It sucked. It wasn't great. But you know what? I really think Deshaun is going to put it together this week. They have a lot to prove. They got rid of their coach. There's a lot of FUs in the atmosphere over there. And so I feel like that game pops, and neither defense really brings it this year. You can run on both of their defenses. I feel like they're going to be up and down the field all day. If it's passing, if it's running, I feel like the defenses will be a step behind. What do you think about this game?
I love the game. It's my number 3 high total for the week. If anything, I'm going to play Watson naked or with Fuller. I'm not touching Cooks. I'm not touching Cobb. I'm not touching Akins. I'm not touching David Johnson. Everybody's going to be on David Johnson. I don't know why. Other than one touchdown run in the first quarter of the first game where he looked kind of decent, he's been nothing.
Nothing.
He's getting lots of volume for nothing. He's this year's Carlos Hyde. Carlos Hyde last year for the Texans had 1,000 yards somehow. The least efficient running back in the entire league.
Yeah, that's not a good offense, but I think they're going to pass the ball a lot. Yeah. So I like that. Will Fuller.
Yeah, I have the Jaguars big in that game because if anybody has anything to prove, it's Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew is trying to put together a complete season for once.
Yeah,
he was. Well, and he was sporadic last year because he was hurt, or he was stepping in for Foles, and then he got benched for Foles when he was healthy, and then he got put back in, and he wasn't that good when he came back in after Foles got ultimately put aside. But this year he's been solid except for the Miami game. So I mean, I think Houston's defense is average. It's not terrible. It's not great. But I think that there's going to be some big plays, lots of James Robinson, lots of DJ Chark, and Minshew's going to be pretty decent. And I think the Texans are in limbo right now. It's a dangerous thing to play a team. It's a dangerous thing to focus on in DFS on a team that just lost their coach and their GM, and they're in flux. I mean, I like the freedom that they're going to eventually get from not having Bill O'Brien fuck everything up.
Yeah,
but this week might not be it. I think the Jaguars can take advantage of that and roll them.
Ooh, I like it. So let's talk about your number 2, my number 3, probably. Are you talking the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants? Is that right? I mean, it's the only other logical.
Yeah, and there is a possibility that Dallas finally gets off to a good start and just destroys New York. Right. But the Rams couldn't do that last week. The Rams had the Rams had the worst game plan I've ever seen. Like, they should have completely destroyed New York, but instead they played super conservative. They put Malcolm Brown in the game for God knows what reason. Darrell Henderson averaging 6 yards of carries riding the bench. And Malcolm Brown is getting 2 yards a carry, and he's catching balls and going nowhere. Didn't break any tackles. Guy runs like a 5.7 40. And they're giving him 20 touches? Really?
No, thank you.
So I think that this week you have the Cowboys playing that same Giants defense. They play fast. The Cowboys are the fastest offense in the league, and they're going to try for once to get off to a lead early on instead of turning it over 3 times in the first half like they've done 2 weeks in a row.
Bad.
Yeah, so it's either going to be a Cowboys blowout or it's going to be a shootout, because I don't see Giants slowing down the Cowboys, and I don't see the Cowboys defense being that good, although they can force some turnovers if they can get some pressure on Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I like it. Let me ask you a question, because those are my top 3 as well. What's a sleeper game that you think more points could be scored maybe than Vegas thinks, or that the general public thinks?
San Francisco, Miami. That'll be the go-to pick, because San Francisco's defense is good against the run. Miami doesn't run it anyway, and I don't see Fitz doing a whole lot, but he's got good receivers. I mean, he's got enough talent to find an open receiver these days. Devontae Parker is an alpha now. Preston Williams has kind of been a ghost, but Gesicki is still there. I mean, he disappears for games at a time, but I still think that they can exploit that 49ers secondary with the shape it's in. And the 49ers are going to run up and down the field on Miami's defense. And I mean run. They're going to run it 40, 45 times. But their offense is always big plays. It's always running back oriented. Whether or not Mostert plays is not going to really determine who gets the ball that much. It's going to just be running the football up and down, right down their throat, outside, passing game to running backs. Kittle's going to just eat again. And so, yeah, I think that might be a sneaky shootout play where the 49ers might get 35, 40 points, and the Dolphins will just be playing catch up, and they won't
21 maybe at the end, and
they might score 28 on them, 31 even. It's you might get your sneaky comeback by Fitz, or even if Fitz looks like shit, you might see a 2 a time this week.
I like that. That's excellent. That's a really good call. Yeah, I mean, the only other game that I could think of just to pivot is maybe the Rams and the Washington football team, maybe kind of, just because their defenses, they're okay, but I think they both kind of do what the other team doesn't do well. And so we'll see. That game could be literally 10-9 or 17-10, or it could be like 31-15 or 50-17. So we'll see. That game could kind of.
I think that one's going to be up there, but not super high. I think it's going to be around a 48-50 total. So 27-24, something like that. And I actually have the Washington football team beating the Rams this week. I think Kyle Allen's the kind of guy. Kyle Allen's the kind of guy that's going to get off to a hot start and just destroy, and catch fire, and then all of a sudden just come Hindenburging down to earth after a couple of games when they figure him out.
Well, you know what? I will take him at 4,100 as a sneaky little play on the DK.
He's in a couple of my tournament plays, yeah. Because you can do whatever the fuck you want with a $4,100 quarterback.
Right after that, you can just get kinky. You can get golden showers. I mean, Golden Tate.
Cleveland Steamers.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland defense. Those are 2 that you could pivot to as well. So.
Yeah, I like that as a crazy dart throw play. I mean, chances are the Rams pass rush is going to be all up in Allen's face, and he's not going to be able to do much. But there is that chance that, Gibson is a great player. Terry McLaurin's going to be shadowed by Ramsey most of the game. Yeah, but I still think he's matchup proof to a degree. We saw that last week against Baltimore.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's going to be a game that more points are scored than we kind of see on the surface. And so I think this is a good slate for points. But I also think there's some games I hope I don't see. One game that's interesting is the Battle of Pennsylvania. And if you're a Nick Kroll fan like I am, one of my favorite episodes ever of the Kroll Show was they did their Pennsylvania story with the Pennsylvania Pawn Stars, and they had a guy from Philly, Jeff from Philly, switch places with a guy from Pittsburgh. And this was hilarious because, they were each shitting on the other person's burg, to say.
Oh, yeah.
And then they would go into the other person's store, and someone would try to buy something, and they couldn't even talk to them. They didn't understand them, like it was from another country. So
I like that game a lot. It's going to be low scoring. It's going to be it's kind of like
fest.
Yeah, it's going to be some. There might be some big plays that spring up, but it's going to be a lot of running the football. There's going to be some maybe some turnovers. I think if they're going to keep it close to the vest on both sides. The Eagles, they're average. They're not great. They're not terrible. They're hard to figure out. Carson Wentz is either going to be super conservative like he was last week against the 49ers, or he's going to be same old Carson Wentz that holds the ball too long and turns it over.
I think he holds the ball too long and turns it over, honestly.
I hope so, because I have Pittsburgh's defense everywhere.
Oh, I like it. So between you and me, for besides the Browns D and Cash head-to-heads, who else are you thinking would be a pivot besides the Browns? I think the Colts there too on the other side. I think that game is a low-scoring affair. It's not going to be.
That's what I was going to have.
A big play. What? Anybody else you think?
The Colts. I mean, it's the perfect opportunity when everybody's focusing on the chalky defenses to go to the defense that is number one in DraftKings points all year.
Yeah,
and they're playing a team that, I mean, it's the Browns. They're not going to be able to run the ball that well. I'm fading Kareem Hunt super hard this week. I might have a lineup or two in GPP with him, but the Browns offense is a huge fade for me this week because the Colts defense is legit. They force turnovers, they stop the pass, and if they can just load the box and stop Kareem Hunt and Dearness Johnson and Hilliard and force Baker Mayfield to pass the ball like the Cowboys couldn't do, that's going to be a long game for Cleveland because Baker Mayfield, if he's forced to pass, is a walking turnover.
Yeah. Well, he's so busy covering the seats with 1980s covers and those stupid Progressive commercials.
Those commercials are gold, though. I mean, he's a better actor than he is a quarterback. That's just a fact.
Yeah, I do feel like Scott could coach him up a bit on a few of the things. Like, first of all, close the gap in your teeth just a little bit. Michael Strahan, there's already been one.
Yeah,
I digress. But that's what we do here on Fast Hard Finish, and that's all. It's all about whatever we want it to be about, and that's what I like. Cheers! I'm drinking water that tastes like Robitussin. And it's 5% alcohol, and it's brought to you by the great people here in DC at DC Brow, and it's called a full transparency hard seltzer black cherry. If you drank Robitussin growing up and saw demons in your closet, you're gonna love this. It's incredible.
It's like Chris Rock's little bit. Oh, you got broken arm? Rub some Tussin on it.
Tussin. I gotta tell you, this is a true story about the Tussin, and I'm gonna tell it and then drink it. One time I had the sicknesses, whatever it was, sinus infection, whatever, fever, a long time ago.
Scurvy.
So, yeah, I don't know. It was real. I took some Tussin and went to bed. I had a dream I was in Vietnam, and I was in the jungle, and I was trapped in the jungle, and I couldn't get out. And I was sweating, and I was could.
And you were born after Vietnam, so this is really interesting.
I woke up in my closet in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, like just my shirt, my underwear, whatever, my boxers, completely drenched, trying to go through my closet, trying to get out of my closet. In my dream, I had been trying to get through the swamp. In real life,
gotta find Bubba.
I had to try to get out. I was being chased by some guns or something, whatever. Woke up, I was just like, man, I am never taking Robitussin again. No, but that taste is still delicious. So try DC Brow. It's one of the best hard seltzers you can try.
So,
transparency right here.
That dream was sponsored by Forrest Gump. Is all I have to say.
I'm not being sponsored. This is free.
You got CCR playing in the background.
Lana Del Rey, Born to Die, coming on next.
Yeah,
something
happening here.
Oh no, you're dead, and I'm thinking about you.
So I did mention I teased a segment called Show and Tell. Would you like to show or tell, or both?
I would love to do both, but is there like an advantage to going first or going second, or just jump in and see what happens?
No advantage. It's
I'll show or tell first. You pick.
You're always telling. Show me something.
Something. Okay. What do we have here? Show you something. Let me see. What's going on that I could? You mean like from my area here?
Yeah.
Oh. Well. Okay. Well. Yeah. Yeah. I could tell you a story about something. Most of it's just drug paraphernalia. Syringes, knives, things of that.
Belts.
Yeah, I mean,
bent spoon.
Things I can show you technically, legally here. Oh, right, sure, right. Something simple. A flask full of liquor. This says on it, "Naughty is the new nice." Listen. I've been sipping on this all day, and there's definitely not any dead bodies or anything that like a hacksaw or anything that should warrant you looking into me. So yeah.
All right. So
how about you tell me something? I want to go tell. And I'm trying to think about what I want to tell. Tell me about high school Bo McBigtime. I want a good high school yarn, and I'll go back and forth, and I'll give you one of my own.
So get ready to sound the nerd alert. But I was the kid who was friends with pretty much nobody, but acquaintances with everyone. Everybody knew of me. I didn't have a lot of friends. I was in the science club. I was the chess club champion, chess club captain. I played on the golf team. I was the lead statistician for the football team because I could design plays and actually build models based on what plays were successful, and so I compiled stats. I wrote articles for the local paper about the high school football team. I've been doing this whole gig for a while now, but I wasn't anything to write home about. I was a B student. I scored a 1440 on my SATs, but didn't parlay that into really anything.
That's not bad. By bad, it means ridiculously good.
Yeah, I mean, if you would have asked my high school teachers, they would have all been singing the unanimous song of Bo has so much potential, and yet he doesn't direct it in a constructive manner.
Doesn't do what he should do.
Yeah, he'd rather read books about unrelated things than do his homework.
Oh man, that sounds like a really good guy. I'd like to know. And
I'm just rebellious. I was just rebellious. I pretty much I moved into a separate living quarter on the property when I was 17, and been a free bird ever since.
I like it. I lived a different tale, but a similar experience in some ways, and different as well. But I would say my high school story was that I was a nerd at first. A 4.0, rock'em sock'em intelligente who always loved being smart. And when I went to my first school in high school, my journey went like this: private school, church school, right? Homeschool, another different church. I didn't go part of private school. It was Montrose Christian School where Kevin Durant went to high school. I was there, 10 years before, whatever. It was not a place where any Kevin Durants went before I was there. No, there were just a bunch of people who went to a church and had some school. But it was a local in the area that you could go to, right? And so I went there freshman year, met Mike there, and he made my life a living hell. He made fun of me, mocked me. I was not cool.
He's the macho guy, so
he's the Ralph Macho Mike. Yeah, he kind of just shit on me a bunch. And I left the next year, and I was like, I don't want to go back there. It was a terrible place. I'm gonna go there. I want to go to my local public school, play football. And my parents were like, all right, we'll do it. It costs money to go to the private school. We'll go. And so I reinvented myself there, and I just became a new person, which is fun. And I went to the newspaper, and I became, a sports writer, and then eventually I was the editor of the newspaper for a sports writer, and I was the sports editor of the whole paper. I wrote the columns, designed everything. I interviewed Jerome Williams he was an NBA player who went to Magruder, my high school, and played at MC my junior college, and then went to play Georgetown. And then he went on to the pros and the Pistons, and it was cool. I got to talk to him and interview him, and I got a picture of me and Jerome Williams, like, the big interview. And it was funny. Like, you see me and Jerome, like you see me talking to him, like me and you talking now. Like, it wasn't like me and Jerome are talking about sports. Like, I was funny. Like, I was joking around with Jerome Williams. I wrote about, like, you think he was this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm, so it's cool. But I did not, I didn't follow the straight and narrow. Like, after the first year of Montrose Christian, where I was denigrated for being a loser, I started telling people when I was a sophomore that I was going to plan a big party. My parents went out of town for Memorial Day weekend, and they found out about my big party, and they didn't go out of town. But I still stole like 20 beers, and so for my dad, over time, I was like siphoning beers from him, like 1 30-pack at a time, like hiding them, and not for the party, So I at least
definitely not for the party.
Well, no, just so I had some beer. So I'd be like, hey, bring some beers. I got a 30-pack, but bring, and just kind of get it going. And
you're like Jonah Hill in Superbad, just drinking out of the laundry detergent carton.
Exactly. And so, it didn't materialize, but the rep that I was like a drinker, even though I never had really drank, kind of, started being like the bad guy. And so I liked it. I was like, oh, okay. And then I just went full bad guy. And I would get, like, one of my favorite times with me and Mike, we went to one night after school, we went down to the Brew-Through in Tacoma Park, Maryland, where you could be on a bicycle. It doesn't matter. They would give you alcohol. They would just, they didn't care. You drove up in a car, they'd be like, hello, you like alcohol? You buy alcohol here.
This is where you get it.
That is what we're here for. We've driven from a faraway distance. We've come from a faraway land, like for Jesus. It's just like Jesus, but with alcohol. And so
I want to break it down. Break it down to, this is the question I thought of before when I was at work today.
Yeah.
This is a good interview question. You can use this on other shows. If I was to go to your hometown,
mm-hmm.
What would they say they remember about you?
Well, I hope no one remembers, this story, because I went with Mike to get to the Brew-Through. We got some Mickey's, and I got a bottle of Alizé because I'm a Nas guy back in the day. It was cool. I got a bottle of Alizé. I was drinking that. I drank half the bottle of Alizé. He drank 2 Mickey's. We smoked a blunt, and then the next thing I got to go home for my sister's birthday, and Mike passes out and ends up puking all over himself, and his mom comes home and finds him wrecked. I went to bed. I was fine. Next day, I pick him up for school, and he's like, I got in big trouble yesterday. Since I saw you last, I threw up all over myself. Blah blah. I'm like, that sucks. Hey, I'm gonna drink the rest of this Alizé on the way to school. I drank the rest of the Alizé on the way to school, and then the coach over at Magruder decided, at first period I had basketball class that year. I was a senior, and he decided he would give a talk about why alcohol and drugs are bad and how you're ruining your life by doing them. And then
totally unrelated to anyone at this school. Well, definitely not a direct story.
It was not about me, but what was hilarious was everybody laughed the whole time
because they knew
I was hammered. But here's the thing: he didn't know I was hammered. It was a Friday or whatever it was. He was just like, "I'm tired of people drinking at this school," and he did and people were like, "What about in your class? If people
nerd
drinking in my class, I would kill them." But no, this guy, he's still the head coach there now. He's won championship, state champ. This dude would lock the gym at lunchtime for an hour, and you could peek in maybe and see him. He would run wind sprints around the gym for 30 minutes, just running and going. Coach Harwood, God bless him, he's like 90 years old or whatever over there at Magruder. He's still there. I wouldn't work
because he's running all those sprints. Dude's in good shape.
He would play basketball for lunch every day with the other teachers. He wanted like this dude is ahead. And
he's
so
a hard ass.
He is a hard ass, and he didn't know I was hammered. And to this day, I feel so bad about that. Like I didn't turn straight and narrow, but that's what people would know me as in high school. I was a party animal. So, but that's not here nor there because now
that's what people remember you by.
Back
in your hometown.
Back then. Well, I didn't leave my hometown. I'm still in my hometown. So
you're still in the same area. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't move out. I just moved.
I'm about 2 hours south of my hometown, so it's.
I'm still in the same county to the point where I went back to my high school as a teacher and evaluated a teacher at that high school. Which was crazy because it was 22 years later. And I'm like, I went and saw Mr. Harwood. I went and talked to him, said hi to him, and
that's wild.
You don't remember me, man, but I was in your class one time and you gave this about drinking and I was hammered. No, I didn't.
Look at me now, bro.
Look at me, man. Look at my badge, man. Look, I got a badge, man. I'm looking special. No, I didn't. I just told him, I used to go to school here and you were one of my teachers. I appreciate that you're still here. I said, it's great that you're, still serving the youth of this area. Being a coach, he was a coach. He cared. Like the reason he gave that whole speech about don't be drinking and doing drugs, he cared. That was a great speech. Like I was an idiot then. That was not a good choice. I don't recommend anybody doing that. If you're in high school, do not drink or do drugs. Do not do that. They're illegal. It's your mind is not made to do that. If I could go back and do anything over again, I would wait until my mind was like 22, 20, maybe 25 before I did any drugs, before I drank, before I did anything. Because you know what? When you're that age, you don't know shit and you're an idiot. And I can say that. I'm 41 now, and I would go back in time and bitch slap the out of myself and tell him what a bitch he was and what an idiot he was and how he shouldn't have lived. So don't do drugs, kids. Grow up and then drink this sparkling hard cider or whatever the shit it is from DC Brow. Full transparency, I've had a few. So I don't know.
I would probably do the opposite because I was pretty straight and narrow when I was that age. And I was kind of overly smart, overly cautious, didn't do a whole lot, didn't go to parties that much. So if I was to go back, I would probably have a lot more fun.
Well, here's the thing about it. I didn't get to go to that many parties, right? Because most of the time I was the party. And
I was never invited to the parties. That was the easy part.
Well, here's the thing about the parties is I always thought high school was about the parties. And then I realized that what it was is that like every now and then someone's mom and dad weren't around and people were like, hey, let's go over to so-and-so's house. That's it. And so we would just bring that wherever we went. I had a pickup truck. And so we would be like, hey, whose house you want to go to? Like, hey, Todd's parents are like kind of like going to bed early tonight. Like, let's go hang out in the back of we would just run the whole school, man. You could drive anywhere I wanted to in my pickup truck. I could go off road. We would go anywhere we wanted. We do donuts and fields and shit. High school was like Dazed and Confused. You watch that movie? That was high school. Mm-hmm. I was a fat guy. I wasn't in the movie, but that there was many times in my high school days where I would come to school and I would just be loaded for bear. And if any correctional officer was like, hello, what do you have in that pocket, and that pocket? I probably smelled like a skunk every day. I don't know. Actually, the trick was I put it in a cigarette. I put it in a box of cigarettes. So I'd have like a Marlboro Red pack of cigarettes, whatever it was, with your J in there. That was, it didn't smell it up because you were encapsulated in the box and the cigarettes were enough to, but man, I was wild. I was an idiot. And,
my town was 7,000 people, so it wasn't that wild. It's like we had our parties out in the country, like in barns and shit, like just like Footloose, except without the hardcore Christians.
That's good.
My hometown is 7,000 people still, and there's 29 churches in the town.
Oh, wait, there are hardcore Christians.
There are, but their average age is like 85.
Oh, good.
So they don't really throw a fit.
Here's the thing. I'm not a hardcore Christian. I grew up in what I'm going to say now was a cult. I'm not going to deny it. Here's what I'm going to say about being a hardcore Christian or hardcore anything, right? I think what we really have to understand about beliefs is that the fluidity of life itself should make you reflect upon your beliefs continuously and should never hone you into any set sort of code, I think, except for the code of humanity and the equalness of each human being and how you relate to those that have come before you and how you relate to those that come after you that maybe you've created or that you're in the context of caring for. So really, the way that we see each other should be through the lens of self, the lens of other, and then the lens of self with other. And you understand the self and the other to be equal. And that's where we break down in our society. And so whether you're Christian or Muslim or whatever whatever group it is, if you can justify liberal Democrat, I mean, Lindsey Graham said you're okay if you're black, you're okay if you're and then he stumbled and said an immigrant as long as you're conservative, you're welcome anywhere in the state. Well, you know what? Here's the problem. You're alienating thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people in your state. And that is not how governing should be. Governing should go, there's 100 people here. We need to figure out what each of these 100 people needs. Okay, so 30 of you need water. Let's figure out the Flint water crisis. All right. 20% of you need internet. Let's get internet for the 20. You have to actually look at the needs of the people and not what the oligarchy does, and that is keep the wealthy and the powers that be greased and the skids going. And
artificially and by not by honest means. I mean, I'm all for a free market system that lets people succeed and fail freely. What we've done in this country is protect people that are the most powerful from failing. If they would naturally fail from their own doing, they should be able to do that. And if you have coercion on both sides to keep things as they are, or even keep tilting them further in that direction, it's just going to destroy us. Yeah. I've simplified my life's beliefs down to the very simple non-aggression principle. I'm not ever going to be aggressive towards anything except for what benefits me and doesn't affect somebody else. I'm going to do me, and if it affects somebody else, I'm going to stop doing that thing.
Yeah. Well, I love that. And for me, speaking of that, like a direct example of that in my own experience, is my children don't like when I yell at people who do bad stuff in front of me because I'm upset at them because they're endangering my life. And that's my adrenaline seizes through my body as I try to maneuver away from their stupidity. I get upset oftentimes, and expletives may have flown from my mouth before, the cusses, as they call them. Yeah. So, I have had to adapt and change my behavior because that does not jive with their souls and they don't like it. And it's something that I love. It makes me feel great to be like, what the fuck is wrong with that bullshit? No. It doesn't bless my children. It makes them unhappy and feel unsafe, they told me. So I said, you know what? I can't do it. Never again.
You can't do that. Once they say that, you're done. You're done.
Never again. So now
you just got shut down.
I got broken by a 6-year-old. So I have a little dash cam. And when you do wild shit in front of me, I go, oh my God.
Oh, camera.
Are we safe? Are we all safe? We're all safe? Good. You're safe. I'm safe. Okay. Wow. Good. We're safe. All right. Look at this crazy shit. Let's watch it on the video. All right. Let's gather around, right? Look at this. Hey, 911. Yes. The license plate 706-304 went by me going 82 and a 61. Yeah. Thank you. It's whatever it is. It's not, normally it's happened once or twice, but I realize I don't need to get angry. And here's what anger comes from. Let's be honest. In general, anger stems from something that's out of your control happening that's bad or wrong. And it's a natural reaction. You see your buddy get hit down in a football game. Oh, you see somebody get shot in war. You see something bad happen. Your natural reaction is no. I'm against that.
And we're wired to want retribution.
Yes.
And we're wired to tell the person when they're wrong.
Yes.
And shame them or to punish them.
I like the thing you said, to punish them. I think a lot of what happens is people think that other people will learn if they're shamed or punished. And they'll learn if they're told they're wrong and if they're shown they're wrong. And I think that really the only way that you're going to grow in all of and I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I mean, I see stuff that Lindsey Graham says, and I say stuff along the lines of what the GOP is doing is a disease, because it's a disease of lying. It's just a lying. That's the thing. I've never seen lying like this before. There's never been, I mean,
I disagree there.
There's more lying
it's just politicians in general. And Lindsey Graham is just the poster child for a dishonest politician who's also a hypocrite. So
that's what I'm getting at. Yeah. I mean, of this thing, if you have Scott going, I will never eat a raw egg, and then you have video of Scott going, I love raw eggs, and that's Lindsey Graham. To me, it's lie, and I think that
I don't think Lindsey Graham was dealing with raw eggs though.
Oh no, you got me there. Hey, you know what? Who's the only single guy in the Senate today? Hey, Lindsey. Hey, he's my favorite. Hey. Yeah, right. Anyway, how old is he? 54?
No, it doesn't fucking matter.
64. Anyway, all I have to say about Lindsey Graham is that he's not welcome on our show. He's just not. And he's not a good person. And there's lots of bad people on both sides. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
On all sides.
If your occupation is politician, I probably think less of you.
There are few and far between people who get into public service to actually serve people. I think that's the thing that's disappointing, is because for me, my role as an educator is to serve people. I know what I'm doing. That's why I'm here. I'm here because I can care for and serve and lift up people, because the bigger picture is society needs every single one of these people to be better off than when they came to me, so that society can be better off, and that people are getting the money that's invested in me as part of this. I'm being paid to do this from the taxpayer. It matters to me that I'm good, because I want people to be successful. I have that pride in me. I want people to go, oh yeah, Mr. Simpson in second grade, third grade, whatever, he made me better. Mr. Simpson, Jesse or Scott as a consulting teacher, he made me better. He helped me become a better teacher. Just like for you, when you support people, you want to be able to help them. That's why you're doing what you're doing. It's money, yes, of course, but you're not exploiting. You're not hurting others. You're caring for
people. I like money.
We all do.
So, let's change it up here. I have to ask you a DFS question.
Oh, of course.
Are you going to be playing my main man, Olamide Zaccheaus, tomorrow?
In some GPPs, yes. I don't think I'll be doing him in cash games, because here's what I'm trying to do in cash games. I'm trying to keep my lineup a little more in a zone between 6,000 and 4,500. So I didn't dip down in my cash games to need Zaccheaus.
So when you did those numbers and you made the hand gestures,
yes,
I wasn't even listening to you, but I saw the gestures and I knew what you were saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's excellent. That's nimble with hand gestures.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
crystal clear.
So Mike loves him, by the way, as well. What do you think about old Zaccheaus come down from that tree?
I mean, obviously he's not a play if Julio ends up starting, but I don't think Julio's going to start. And I think Ridley is still, even if he's not injured on the report, he's not 100% yet. That ankle's still not going to be completely strong. And Ridley's game is route running. He's a great route runner. He's always open when he's 100%. And Matt Ryan's not that good if you're not that open.
Yeah.
And Zaccheaus got targeted, 8 times last week?
A lot.
Because Ridley wasn't getting open, obviously with 5 targets and no catches. And Hurst is okay, but he's not amazing. And you have Gage, who's only good if the other 2 guys on the outside are killing it. So, I mean, I think Zacchaeus is in line for another big play.
Let's build a team real quick. This is
Yes. This is what I'm here for. I'm talking crap. Talking
Here
Mama Doe. Oh, and that song we came in on was White House Road by Tyler Childers. It's the inspiration for my team name in the Hotbox Dynasty League.
And what is your name? Yeah, okay.
Well, it's the grocery bill. Because the line in the song is "Get me higher than the grocery bill."
Oh, I like that. I did I lose last week? I think I did.
Yeah,
I think I felt like I did.
You got stomped like Rosalie, like everybody predicted.
Yeah, I love Rosalie. I'm never gonna talk shiitake mushrooms about Rosalie ever.
No, there's nothing to talk shit about.
Oh my gosh, she's like one of my favorite people ever. So, yeah, I'm. Did you get to do the? You didn't get to do the podcast on Friday, did you?
No, I was in an appointment I joined it. I crashed the comments at 7:30, so a half hour into the show, I was interacting with both of them, and it was pretty good. They have a lot of the same plays as I do, and so I was pretty amicable in the comments, which is not like me usually.
Well, yeah, normally you're very contrarian, which I like. All right, so let's do this. Should we jump into a not a bigger contest, but maybe like a single entry? Yeah, let's do something like that. And
I love single entry tournaments because you have an equal shot as anybody else.
Yeah, it's very even, Steven. You know,
it's as fair as it can get. I mean, you have a lot of great players in there still, but at least you have a shot against somebody who would normally be bankrolling 150 lineups.
Yeah, here's the problem. I'm not great, and I'm gonna have to get in here and do this. I do it on my phone most of the time, so I'm gonna have to kind of learn as we go here.
I'm the same way.
You know, and how
their app is so good. I mean, why would you use the desktop if you had the choice?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not going to normally do this. So we don't want to be in the entry fees that are super high.
Yeah, I usually get like a $10 or $20 single entry tournament. I think there's one I'm in that's 27.
What about this? NFL Fair Catch single entry classic $300,000 tournament.
Oh yeah, $12.
$12.
I hope you got enough.
Oh, hey, for friends who don't know, I won 5K.
Week two,
bro. It's gonna last all season because I'm not gonna spend it too much because I'm really nice and chill. So, all right, excellent. So we're trying to go in this tournament for glory. So let's fucking build a crazy team. I'm open to every suggestion. I've got enough water and, you know, we're going to get there, Bo. We're going to get there. So what do you think?
So we're going wild and crazy, right?
Yeah. Wild and crazy. Guys, I would say, for me, I'm not tied in, but I'd like to have 3 running backs if possible because I think running backs are where it's going to be at. But that's just
I play the same way.
Okay, good. I just want to get the tits out, you know.
For Harambe.
So, yeah, let's do this. What do you think? Who? Let's put our flex in right away, or you want to go RB right away? What do you want to do?
I like to start with RB.
All right,
RB into flex,
RB
and then defense.
Why are we not doing Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Tell me why we're not doing him.
Everybody's gonna have him. Literally everyone.
I like that. What if he hits though? What if he's the main guy?
What has he hit yet? He's priced like he's been ceiling played all year, but he's not. He's going to be 15 to 20 points, and he hasn't broken out for more than that since week 1. So I'm off him in tournaments because he's up to I expected up to 80% owned in tournaments. Not worth it.
So last week he was at 6,200, and that vaulted him up to 6,800.
But he only scored 12.1 in a smash matchup.
That's crazy. That's not good. That's
bait, my friend. That is bait.
That is low-hanging fruit. I like it. What if we pivot to James Robinson, $100 less? What do you think about that play? That seems a little more juicy.
For RB2, I'm with you.
Oh, you're still going RB1. So let's scroll down. I'm torn. I've got a few friends down in low places. Who are you thinking down here in the lower regions? Or do you want to pivot back to the top?
I want to start my lineup with Zeke.
Oh, the very top, the very best.
Because I see either game flow in that game featuring Zeke.
Oh, yes. I think he'll be the most prominent player for sure.
He'll be less owned than Allaire, but much more upside.
Yes, I agree. And let's bring in some other matrix real quick, because we're full of matrix here and
matrices,
right?
I like your DK tool. I use it every week.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate
it. NimbleWnumbers.com, where you can find Bo Knows DFS and the DK value tool.
Oh, it's very cool. And if you're looking at the screen now, what you see in the value tool is a projection of kind of how many points they're averaging compared to their pricing. And normally you want to get in above the 2.5 range of value to pricing. So for example, let's say someone is priced at, $5,000. You want them to pay out at above the 12-point range, and the 13-point range would be, beneficial for you compared to other positions at that price. You want that. So, in this metric, what you're looking at for some of these players is their price point now and the value next to it. And some of those players are very high. And Zeke Elliott at 2.9 is up at the very top. He is overall, when you look at the rankings, he's number 4. And he could have had a touchdown last week. I think he did have a touchdown last week that was not counted for. That's 6 more points right there. That's 20.
I've seen his ownership percentages creep downward, getting closer to kickoff. So,
so nice.
I'm happy to report that. So even if he's around the 35% own level, I'm happy with that, because that's my alpha dog this week. That's the guy I want to start my roster with.
I like it. So let's do this. I have a plan B in this as well. And my plan B is Mike Davis. Your plan B is James Robinson. Let's juxtapose these two guys just, for shits and giggles, and figure out who we want to plug in here. Because I think one of these guys is going to be in this lineup. And I'm okay with either one of them. But I'd love to hear your case for your guy. And then I'll give a little bit of my case for my guy. And then we'll hear what we figure out.
James Robinson is getting over 90% of the running back touches for Jacksonville this year. Even in the game where their offense struggled, he was a 30-point player. He's in a great matchup this week, and he's going to get all the work. I mean, other than Minshew to DJ Chark and maybe some Connolly, maybe some other guys, it's going to be all Robinson. And he's just like Zeke, where you have your double-sided sword, where no matter the game script, he's going to be involved. He's going to get touches. If they're behind, he's going to get catches. If they're ahead, he's going to get carries. And against the team he's playing, he's going to be making pretty solid chunks on every touch.
Yeah. No, I do like him a lot. I mean, he is strong to quite strong, as they say in a few of the different shows and movies.
I like Davis too, though. I mean, Davis is a solid play.
Yeah, I think here's what I like about Davis, particularly, it is the target numbers that he's seeing. So through the 3 games that he has been involved in, he's seen 8 targets, 9 targets, and 6 targets. So it's
almost like their system revolves passing to the running back.
Well, and it's crazy. Even like their system is a new system, and it still revolves around that too. It's a smart.
Well, it's not that new. I mean, they pretty much took a big chunk of pages out of last year's playbook, from what I could tell. And all they did was juxtapose Robbie Anderson with DJ Moore's expected roles, where everybody expected DJ Moore to be that short yardage slot receiver, and they put him in the X, and they put Robbie in the slot, and it's working.
Yeah.
I mean, DJ's kind of suffering because Teddy Bridgewater's he's kind of a beta quarterback, to me, to be honest. And so him throwing to an X receiver on the outside the hashes across the field, it's a little bit riskier for him. And he's kind of a risk averse quarterback. He's a dump off, find your slot open receiver. He's that kind of quarterback. He's a lot like Phillip Rivers, where unless your alpha receiver's in the slot, he's not going to get a lot of looks.
Yeah.
And I think that it'll eventually click with DJ Moore at the X, but it's going to take a little while longer because Robbie Anderson's right there wide open.
Yeah. I think what people don't understand about the game of football is you go, oh, he's a starting wide receiver. He's going to get the targets. When you are the X, you are more of a downfield option. I mean, you have different routes that you can run, of course, but in this offense, you're more of a downfield option, and you're not going to be Teddy, that's not his game. His game is underneath.
And it's typical on the left side of the formation. It's like a traditional offense, which Matt Rule does run.
Yeah.
Is the X receiver doesn't move off of the left side of the field. They run a specific route tree that's more complex than a slot receiver. But it's all about the quarterback's ability. The quarterback doesn't feel comfortable going to that read very often, which Teddy hasn't shown very much confidence going to the outside. That's not going to be his look. His look is going to be to the running back and to the slot.
Well, I mean, Robbie Anderson is priced so far down here.
He's going to be owned by everybody this week.
Oh my gosh, I know, but geez Louise,
he's going to be a smash and cash. He is in every single one of my cash lineups.
Yeah, he's a smash and grab. I'm not going to say he might not filter into a few other lineups in other positions, but So looking at your boy, Olamide Zaccheaus. I feel like
Olamide, but yeah.
Olamide. Oh, sorry. Olamide. What? Olamide? No, Olamide. Okay, I got it. I feel like that is a nice little value play right there. Last week, 16.6. You want to plug him in there? You want to put him in one of our wide receiver slots, or you want to give a running back? I'm not against.
You can plug him in.
Plug him in.
You can plug him in.
I forgot to talk about Mike Davis.
But if they activate Julio for some reason, he's going out.
So let's do this. Let's wait on the RB because I mean there is a little bit of a price discrepancy, but I think either one we can fit in. And let's sneak over to my boy Alamede. Alamede. I think it's crazy that he is the min. I didn't expect that. That was not something that
There's a couple other mins that are surprising, like Damiere Byrd. Which I've seen him at the very top of ownership all week. So, I mean, as great as he is in a cash play, Damiere Byrd is going to be very highly owned. And he's off the main slate now. The Patriots got bumped.
Right. Yep.
They got bumped to Monday, so it's going to be a little bit more on Olamide than we think, but still not very high. We're talking maybe 10% at the most.
That's not too bad. Who do you think you would like to have at tight end? I have a few thoughts between Waller and Kelsey. I feel like those two are the strong pay up. If you really want to pay up, too, you can get Kittle as well. Those are three pay up. And then down a little bit lower, you've got Ingram, Hurts, and Ebron. If you're really looking for a stretch in a GPP, though, you kind of do.
I love Ebron, but not in GPP.
Who are you thinking could be plugged in here?
I'm either going Kittle or Higbee.
Ooh, I do like Higbee as well. Let's throw Higbee in. That's a good little skeleton crew.
Because Washington cannot cover the tight end.
No.
Every NFC East defense except for the Giants has done nothing to slow down tight ends. They're three of the bottom 5 defenses against the tight end in that division.
Yeah, they're terrible. Let's get the defense out of the way. You want to go Colts? Do you want to go Browns? What do you want to do here?
I think we can afford the Colts. And I would say if we can spend up on the Steelers, we can do that. But the Colts are going to be lower owned. The Steelers are going to be a little more popular. I think the Browns will be more popular than people think because of the price point. And I mean, Joe Flacco he's gonna bring all those people to the yard. You're like, what defense is playing Joe Flacco this week? That's gonna be the Cardinals. They're gonna be popular too, but
very much so.
But I think the Colts, under the radar, 3,300, and that's your top ranked defense in the league for fantasy points.
It is true. It is true. And they are giving you the best value this week for sure.
Cleveland, I still don't think they're going to be as explosive as last week. It's going to be a rude awakening going from the worst defense in the league in Dallas to the best in the Colts.
I agree. Well, what do you think about Antonio Gibson at 5,000 in the
Love
flat?
him. Love him.
Something
Slam
we
it
should,
in there.
should put in
You
there?
need to shoehorn Antonio Gibson into your lineup.
Okay, I thought that was a good play. All right, so now we're looking at about 25,300 left. Not about, that's exact. For the rest of our build, and we've got 4 players.
We're wild and crazy, right?
We're going wild and crazy.
I mean, our lineup looks pretty wild and crazy, other than Zeke so far.
It does. I'm okay with it. I'm not. We've got.
But we've saved our money, so now we can go and spend some big bucks.
Yeah, let's spend some big bucks. What are we thinking for? Yeah, let's do this. Let's put for RB. Let's just put Robinson in for now, because I do like that play. Let's put him in there and see what that does with the rest of our lineup. For QB, we're going to have to stack attack, and that's a given. We have a few different options here that are going to kind of leave us with the last play to be determined.
Mm-hmm.
So, are we thinking we're going to be going down here in the value with Burrow naked, or trying to do golf with a kind of a sneaky stack, or are we going to drop even further and go crazy stack and put down 4,100 for Kyle Allen, and then try to match him with
this build? I want to spend up a little bit at quarterback, not too much. Looking at what we have here is we can go with Goff, but I'm not a huge fan of his upside this week because that's going to be a lower scoring game. I'm
thinking Watson and Fuller, or
Watson. Fuller is a good one. Danny Dimes and either Slayton or even Golden Tate would be good because nobody's on Golden Tate.
So let's see if we plugged in
Watson. Fuller would be my first choice though, because we have the James Robinson comeback.
Yeah. Let's see what this would do. This leaves us 5,100 for a wide receiver. I think that's
and there's a guy right in that wheelhouse.
There's a few different guys right in that wheelhouse. Who are you thinking in this matchup right here? Even maybe lower that you'd like.
Yep, go down a little bit lower.
Right here. Does this tickle it for you right there?
Yeah, he's going to be chalky, but I think he's just going to explode.
We have Mr. Darius Slayton. So here is our matchup. Let's go back. We got a couple of different games stacked in here, which I do like. We've actually run a few games back, so it's like a triple run back. That's what we have. Yeah, we've got Watson stacked with Fuller, and then in that we're running it back with Robinson, and then we have Zeke Elliott, and then in that game we're running it back with Slayton.
Big play.
And then we also have Higbee and we're running it back with Gibson. So the kind of two guys to break out on that team. And then Zacchaeus kind of just finds himself in that limbo land with Old Steve. We've got many run backs. I like that.
But that Zacchaeus chip is what affords us Watson, Zeke, Robinson. I mean, it's just those. I mean, even Fuller is not that cheap this week.
Yeah,
because he's kind of the only show in town for Houston lately. I mean, it's a miracle he's still healthy, but Brandon Cooks was a complete goose egg last week. Akins was average. And Cobb was. Where was Cobb? Where was Cooks? Where were all these receivers that the Texans have?
Yeah. So here's a question right now. This is just one. Not that we have to use our salary. We never have to. But let's talk about right now. We have enough money if you wanted to. We could upgrade Higbee to Darren Waller. What do you think about that? The only argument I give for this would be, or my only thought process is, and shoot it full of holes. I'm okay with it. He has been getting a bunch of targets, and And I know Ruggs is back, and that is the concern I have in this game. But I feel like they're going to be passing the ball the whole game. And I feel like this, Carr's going to have to drop back 40 times. I don't know, 40 between 40, a lot of times. And so I could see him getting more targets, but I'm not sure. What do you think about that? Because they don't have as many.
I'm all for it.
Okay.
I want you to do it because Waller has not been touchdown dependent, and Higbee has.
That's true.
Higbee's huge breakout week 2 was 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And so without that, he's like tight end 10 or 11. And Waller, with just his sheer volume for every game except for New England, has been solid as a rock.
Yeah.
He's getting 10 plus targets because Gruden's philosophy is run the damn ball and find the short receiver who can run after the catch.
Yeah.
And take your shots with Ruggs, take your shots with everybody else. They're taking shots at Zay Jones, who can't even play football, and it's working. They're taking shots at Nelson Aguilar, who can't even catch COVID, and it's working.
That's hilarious. Put that on a T-shirt. Nelson Aguilar can't even catch COVID.
I think it's been thought of.
That's hilarious.
I don't know where I saw it, but I saw something to that effect. Even Nelson Aguilar is catching balls for the Raiders.
Oh, that's hilarious. Here's what I think. I think this has got a lot of upside, particularly when you look at your wide receiving core. There's not a lot of chalk there. I think Will Fuller is going to be a little bit more owned than maybe typical weeks, but not even over that much. But I do.
And I think they're going to the price might be too high for a lot of people to own a lot of him. Yeah, and especially with a lot of more shiny receivers out there. Like a lot of people are going to spend up on Hopkins at 7,900. A lot of people are going to spend up on Cooper at 74. I'm one of them. But
not a bad price.
But Fuller at 66, there's always that chance he tweaks the hammy in the first quarter and you're screwed. So, I mean, that's always in the back of somebody's mind. And I've never been a huge fan of Fuller, but if he's on the field, he's either going to get nothing or he's going to get 40.
Yeah, I agree. I like it. I'm going to enter that bad boy in. Congratulations, you entered. Here's the cool part about it. It's a big contest. And so,
and you got my new PayPal if we win big.
If we win big, Bo McBig Time's getting a piece for sure. I told Mike today, we were talking on the phone. I said, I don't think you understand if I win 125,000 or Bo wins 125, like we're winning 100. Like I'm quitting my job immediately. The company is starting this. Like now we don't have a company, but it begins.
We could with that kind of capital.
Here's what I would do, honestly. If we pulled that together, we would stake some claims and we would start going at some tournaments. I think I would really press hard at some of the more expensive entries where we could maximize. Not a lot of people are going to be in. We could really
low pay lines too, because just because there's a higher entry fee, you're not getting the same exposure, and so the pay lines are typically 15 to 20 points lower in the more expensive buy-ins over $100. If you're paying 100 to 150 to get into a tournament, you have fewer people with 150 lineups.
Yeah, and I feel like with a little bit more capital, it'd be a nice strategic wide open for the pickings, type thing. So we'll see. We'll get there. But anyway, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you for chilling with us this very eve. We're going to wrap bad boy up because, it's getting almost 1 o'clock on the East Coast, and that's the only real coast in the world. So sorry about that. But, we're going to disagree.
No, it's over.